How are you? Hope you're doing really well. Thank you so much for watching this channel. Really great to hear from you and have you here today. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And today we're going to be talking about how I personally overcame asthma. It was a really long struggle, and it's something that I'm really proud of as well. I had severe asthma attacks starting at the age of around 14, and they always coincided with, just checking if it's recording, it always coincided with cold. So every time I got sick with a random cold, because you're 14, you go to school, you meet with so many different people, and you get sick, right? Pretty normal routine. But unfortunately for me, it's when I got sick with a cold, which is pretty routine and normal for everybody, I would actually get debilitating asthma as a result of the cold, which meant that I basically couldn't get out of bed very much. I could only walk. I mean, you have to get out of bed to be able to use the bathroom, for example, but walking, I lived in a small 2-bedroom apartment in San Francisco, and just walking for like about 10 steps was incredibly debilitating. I had barely any opportunity to breathe. I had no energy to smile. I had, it's just really rough. I could barely breathe. I mean, I'm telling you, girl, it was like so bad, so freaking bad. And luckily, like once the cold let up, and of course I'm taking my rescue inhaler, once the cold let up, it also, my asthma would slowly go down and become less and less debilitating. But it was still like 3 weeks of pure torture every single time I was sick. And so between 14 and 15, this happened like 30 times. I think because my immune system was already lowered, I was just constantly getting sick all the time. And then with cold, a regular cold or flu, I would get asthma. Flu would be much worse, of course. And the other caveat to this is that my family didn't want me to use any steroid inhalers or steroid medicine like prednisone or any other typical steroid medication that is used for severe asthma cases like this. And that was their decision because they had seen my grandmother die from emphysema and a very grueling, very emotional death. And obviously, like, I'm very young, and so it was a completely different story for me. But there was just some lingering stress and pain, like family pain from that experience. And so my parents and family were vehemently against me using steroid medication. So that was out of the picture. And there were times when I inevitably had to use steroids just because it was so bad. Like, my mom would take me, so some days my mom would take me to school. We'd attempt to go to school because I was in high school at the time at a very rigorous, demanding public high school that was merit-based, and we were also a magnet school, so everyone wanted to go to this school. And I basically would sit in front of the school in the car deciding whether or not I would be able to actually go in for that day. And sometimes when it was so bad, I really didn't want to interact with other students. It wasn't that I was depressed or anything. Ultimately, it was actually just that I couldn't breathe. And so if you can't breathe, you can't think, you can't smile, I just wasn't my normal self. And I know that I also felt like, people would ask me how can I help? How are you doing? What can I do for you? They see me suffering, right? But there's honestly nothing they can do besides, giving me medicine, right? So I didn't want to have those kind of interactions. So yes, I was basically self-isolating and going into the bathrooms during recess to not have to interact with any of my friends, which was really bizarre. I was not, ultimately when you're in this kind of circumstance, you do want to reach out, you do need the support of loved ones. But luckily I had my family, I had some Buddhist community members who were there to support me and chant for me. And that was at the time the best thing that they could do for me, right? It wasn't consolation, because that just made me cry. I was so emotional at the time. And it was more about, active prayers or trying to, maybe giving me medicine or anything like that. So ultimately it was a very trying circumstance in a very highly competitive school. Luckily I had my parents and my family to help out as much as I possibly needed, but it went on for 2 years. And finally, my family and I practiced Buddhism. And so we had been chanting as a 14-year-old, 7 hours a day sometimes, because when I couldn't go to school, that's essentially what I did. I just chanted all day because I really needed to overcome this no matter what, right? This is something that was ruining my, ability to interact with people, was ruining my ability to even think and process things and smile. Smiling now is something that I completely take for granted, right? I just had no energy. I was losing weight. I couldn't eat. And so, yeah, it was really, really mentally, physically, emotionally exhausting. But when you can't breathe and you have nothing else, everything, life becomes really simple, right? There's so little that you can do that life becomes really simple. And so I actually turned to my mom after like chanting 3 hours or so. And I was like, hey, you told me that I would be better by now, right? Like you told me I would be okay if I was chanting. I wouldn't, the worst case scenario is you die, but most people of my age don't die from asthma because we're younger, we're healthier, whatever. We have the propensity to overcome and, cure this illness, right? And she turned to me and she was like, you have no appreciation for your life. And I was like, what? At the time, like, I couldn't really believe it. I was like not really able to process that fully. Like it wasn't, I was like, I have no appreciation. I mean, that's probably true, but like, look at me, I'm 14, 15, like going through these insanely debilitating chronic asthma episodes. Like, I don't even know why, why do I have to suffer all of this, right? And so, so that was I was like, well, you know what? Maybe she's right. I have no idea, but I'm just gonna try it. I have nothing else to lose. So initially, like I was chanting just like a little bit here and there, like, oh my gosh, like I have to get better, I have to get better. Thank you so much, thank you for helping me cure my illness. Like, I'm so grateful. Even though I didn't really feel it, to be honest, I was just chanting that, right? And then ultimately, eventually, it got to the point after many hours where I was like, oh no, I am grateful. I am really grateful. Even that I have one breath that I can, breathe, I'm so happy. I'm so incredibly happy. I'm so grateful to be alive. Like, this is amazing. Even if I die tomorrow, I will be okay, right? I will be happy. At least I will die happy. So that was like... that was a really big turning point for me, and ultimately that's what led to me overcoming it. I don't know like the exact theatrics. It wasn't like an overnight thing. I didn't, one day to the next not have asthma anymore. It was actually very gradual, but by the time I was 16, I was not having any of these debilitating asthma attacks. I was really able to start living life as a normal high school student, applying for college applications, things like that, studying really hard, going out with friends. And what was interesting is that despite having about 2 years of debilitating asthma where I literally could not go to school on many, many days, and if I did go to school, I was hiding in the bathrooms, despite that, and also going to a very competitive school, I still had straight A's. And I don't know like how I did it. I have no idea, like, because when you're not breathing, your brain is obviously not getting the oxygen that it needs, right? So theoretically, you're not thinking and processing information as quickly as somebody who is perfectly healthy, right? And so somehow, some way, just like for all of that deep gratitude that I was chanting and all of the chanting that I did as a Buddhist and my family did and all of the community did for me, I was able to fully overcome my asthma. And then that led a couple years down the line to me actually running a marathon for the first time. I did Lymphoma and Leukemia Society and was able to, it was called Team in Training, and I was able to run 22 miles and also raise $5,000 for lymphoma and leukemia. So that was like a huge win for me. It's like I could barely walk 10 steps when I was 15, and then by the time I'm 22, right, I'm running a full marathon. That's like insane. It's like completely opposite, right? And to be quite candid, I still do have asthma. It's something but I'm now able to live with a dog, and something that I never thought would be possible in my entire life. It was like a dream that I'd always had. I'd always wanted to live with a dog, and I just couldn't do it, right? It was too, like even anxiety causing, because I didn't know if I would like get sick. But luckily, like we figured out ways. We have wonderful air filters. We clean a lot. We have, hypoallergenic materials and things like that to reduce the level of asthma. And now I have no problem living with my dog. So I'm so incredibly grateful for her to be in my life right now. And I'm so incredibly grateful to completely overcome like so much in such a short time frame. And so, yeah, just wanted to really share that experience with you about how I overcame my asthma, really debilitating chronic asthma, through meditation, active meditation, and having deep, deep, deep gratitude for my life. I think that was the turning point, they call it, right? The turning point for me to really transform that karma and really turn it into my mission. So anyways, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.